Alrighty. Oh, gotta get the earbud. I don't want audio feedback. Alright, let's see here. Get this loaded up. Come on, computer. Why you gotta be so slow? There we go. Alright. Back into the game. Let's go. So I did quite a bit in between the streams I was playing earlier today. So first of all, I moved the hub to over here now. Didn't do anything new with that up there, but we will soon. The main big thing, one thing here is I kind of set up this whole loop, this whole production loop here for the summer sloop stuff. Now I don't have enough summer sloops to complete it. I have one more that I need for this bit, and then it'll be all complete. So I have 4 machines here making alien proteins from the 4 different types. And then that all runs into this one here. And this one's overclocked to make sure that it does fast enough. And this one making the DNA capsules. And then that goes directly into here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another container here. Just so then if I have other junk stuff that I want to sync just from my own inventory, I can. And now from earlier we have enough. We have enough what are they called? We have enough encased industrial beams now to start actually using them for stuff. So that's what I've begun to do. And then, so this comes along here. On this side is all the alien protein stuff. And then on this side is the constructors for all of the power shards. And what we have is we have smart splitters. So we have each individual type here for each of the machines. And then forwards is the overflow. So anything that isn't these just gets going forwards. And then this one will have stinger remains going that way, but not yet because I don't have them getting doubled. And then anything else that isn't that stuff is going to get looped back around this side here. And then it comes all the way over here. It's clipping into this a little bit, but that doesn't matter. It goes back into this, so then it's a closed loop here. And it comes back around. And that's because if for some reason I overload too much at a time and these can't take them all in fast enough, then they'll just come back around to try to get put back in. Otherwise, if you really didn't care, you could just end it in a sink instead of looping back. But I don't want to accidentally sink something valuable like slugs or alien remains for the tokens when it's not actually turned into DNA yet. And speaking of, I put a bunch of alien remains through, a bunch of that. I have a bunch of extra turbo motors that I had put through and stuff from the lizard doggos, which we can go take a look at because I did bring them back up now again. But in here, as you can see, now we have 105 printable coupons. That's quite a lot. Love to see it. And we're gonna need them because once we get some other things like quartz research going more, there's gonna be a lot of shop items. And let's sort. I was doing some stuff with sulfur tree, which we're gonna look at real soon here actually. I had unlocked the smokeless powder stuff and I wanted to unlock, I wanted to get explosive ammo, but we can get Nobelisks right away at least, so we'll probably do that. Another nuke Nobelisk, nice. That's one good thing about the lizard doggos. Now that I'm getting Nobelisks unlocked, I already have a couple Nobelisk types just ready to use. Or Nobelisks. But I have 50 gas Nobelisks for some reason. I have a couple nuke ones. I would have more, but I've been storing some. I have some pulse ones, those are useful, and then I have some regular ones. I don't think that they give the scatter ones, so I don't have any of those right now. Got some more pulse ones there. Pulse ones are great for the radioactive cliff hogs, because usually they're on cliffs and they're radioactive, so you don't even want to be close to them. So what you can do is, if you have a pulse and you get them near an edge, you can just fling them right off the cliff, and then you don't have to worry about them. Because the annoying thing with the radioactive ones is even after they're dead, their remains sit there, still being super radioactive and annoying. Alright, let's sort that. And then, so yeah, let's look at the tree in the map. So, also, I grabbed enough merger spheres where we can do the next round on both of these sides here. Eventually, I'll do the power augmenter as well, because that will be important. We have enough computers for it. Nothing in here in particular that I want to do. Mycelia, big thing we did in here is we unlocked the well, no, we already had parachute. What we unlocked was the extended tool belt down here. So now we have another equipment slot, and then we can do this once I get access to the polymer resin. I just haven't done anything with oil yet. And then I did unlock gas masks, and I printed one out, so it's there. And then we have some filters right there, 22 filters in our inventory. So I don't actually have Nobelisks yet, so, or the detonator yet, so I can't explode those rock things, but I can walk inside of them with the filters, so I won't actually die. And yeah, that's with that. Forgot what these two nodes are about, so I might look at that. Medicinal property, that's probably inhalers of some sort, but I'll check that out. In fact, if I have enough mycelia, no, but we can cut some later. It's not too important. Nutrients don't care about. That is later on. Port stuff. I'm gonna want to get the inflated pocket dimension. I forgot what's all down here, but getting shadow rebar would be nice. And then sulfur, this is what we're doing. I want to get to the explosive rebar, but I had to do smokeless powder, which means I need to do the plastic. I was saving the plastic that I have right now for our next milestone, but we can start making more plastic once I do some oil refining. We just haven't done any yet. But what I can do is unlock the Nobelis detonator right now, and I had unlocked another expanded tool belt here, so we had gotten 2 expansions to that. So instead of holding 4 things, I can hold 6 things. So now I didn't have to switch out my saw blade anymore, and we can also hold the medicinal inhalers in there as well as everything else I have currently. So this will be everything I'll need until I unlock the rifle, which is also in the sulfur chain here along with the explosive rebar. And then cluster nobelis is the only ones I don't actually have any access to with the puppies. This way over here, I should invest in that because that will get me to turbo fuel, which is important, and then rocket fuel, and then I think the ion fuel or whatever, but rocket fuel is usually all you really need to do. Alright, let's see here. So we can do Nobelis detonator. I'm missing what? What am I missing? I'm missing 1 pipe. 1 steel pipe. That's another thing we're gonna have to do at some point, is remake the steel production stuff, especially now that I got Mark IV belts going. So in the last episode, I think it was last episode or the episode before, I had set up this temporary thing here. So this thing just takes in, we got all the iron ore coming in right here, and then we had that coal line from all the way up there run all the way down to here. We're just using Mark III belts and everything here, but we'll be expanding this to Mark IV because this thing is actually set up to do Mark IV perfectly. But we were using the solid steel ingots, so you were turning iron ingots into steel ingots instead of iron ore and coal into steel ingots. But this makes it 2 to 3 instead of 2 to 2, like a 1 to 1. It's a 2 to 3, 50% more. So that was nice. It means I had to use less machines for how much output we want. And then also just more per amount of iron. And then I was just having these feed into these. These are just some modules that are making the encased beams. And I have those in here now, so we can just place those however we want for as much as I can stack up. Right now the bottleneck is limestone, or well, limestone for concrete, but yeah, concrete. But we're gonna be able to do something real cool with that. I got a plan for the concrete stuff, and that'll be cool to check out. So yeah, we had this set up, so we got a bunch of it just stacked up here. I was doing the concrete manually from our concrete store right there, which I can grab some more and shove into there because we always need more Mark IV belts. Eventually, once I make the thing actually work right, I'll just have the concrete feed in directly, so then it just does it eternally. Okay. Let's just refill this quick. There we go. Because right now we're only getting 60 per minute of concrete from the 180 per minute of limestone. And I want to make that significantly higher. And what we can do is, now that we have Mark IV belts, we can transfer 480 per minute at a time, which is very useful. But then we also got the Mark II miners. So on a normal node with a Mark II miner, we can get 300 limestone per minute. And we can move those with Mark IV belts, so we can get the full 300 output per. And then with constructors, that would mean 100 concrete per minute. All right, give me one moment. I'll be right back. Alrighty, now I'm back. So anyways, as I was saying, with a Mark II node, Mark II miner on a normal node, maxed out with the power crystals as much as you can, power shards as much as you can, you get 300 limestone, and then with a constructor conversion rate that makes 100 cement per. So I have 3 nodes over there, and then I have a node over there, so I can make 300 cement over there, or I could make another 100 there if I wanted for a full 400 total, and that is quite a bit. But there's also another thing you can do, and let's go to the MAM. I had researched quite a bit. So if we go to hard drives, no, hard drive library. So we got a couple things here. I had unlocked quite a bit. So this stuff we already had from beforehand. Here's a new one that I unlocked. Flexible frameworks, so if I wanted to do the versatile frameworks with rubber for some reason I could. I don't think I'd want to do that though. Then we got pure copper ingot here, so eventually I'll take that when I want a lot more copper. That'll be nice. Only really late game is that necessary though. But then here we got basic iron ingot, so that combines limestone with iron ore to get more ingots per ore. And you do that in a foundry. It can be nice if you have extra limestone that you're not going to be turning into concrete. You can just grab it for this, get more iron. It just helps to max out your stuff. But this here, heavy oil residue. This is great because you turn crude oil into heavy oil residue and polymer resin. So 40 per minute here and 20 per minute there, from 30 per minute here. So you get more heavy oil residue than crude oil you're putting in, which is kind of nice. Now right now, just on its own, doesn't make too much sense. Actually, let's see here. We have access to the refinery, and I can place one down right now. Now they're big, as you can see, and tall. That is one annoyance with them. But if we look here, so basic recipes, you got plastic. So if you're trying to make plastic, you know, 30 per minute makes 20 plastic, and then you get 10. So compared to the plastic recipe, you're getting 4 times as much, but that's not the point of that. And then same with rubber, but with rubber it's 30 to 20, so it's only twice as better as rubber for just the heavy oil residue recipe. So that's something there. But then you have these two here, or not, these two here, residual, that takes the polymer resin and makes plastic. And then same here, the polymer resin, and makes rubber with water. Now to get polymer resin, you turn the oil into just fuel, and then polymer resin is the byproduct there. So polymer resin is the fuel byproduct. Heavy oil residue is the plastic and rubber byproduct. The main byproducts there. And then you have residual fuel here, where you take 60 per minute of heavy oil residue and make fuel. So you can do kind of weird loops where you could be making fuel primarily, and then with the polymer resin, you're doing the residual stuff here and adding in water to get extra plastic and rubber from your extra thing out of that. Or you could be making these mainly, and then heavy oil residue is then used to make fuel as the byproduct there. So that's kind of a silly loop. Then petroleum coke you can make out of heavy oil residue too, if you want to get rid of that into a sinkable solid. And also we got liquid biofuel here. That's not too important right now. All right, there we go. All right, so then, anyways, so you can use heavy oil residue and make fuel, but with that alternate recipe, it takes 30 oil and makes 40 residual per minute. This thing takes 60 and makes 40, so let's see here. Not even. Okay, so it's somewhere in there. So it's 26.65. So just around 26.66, 26.665 probably. Something like that, close to that. So it would end up making just around 26, 27 out of that 30 oil. But for fuel, out of 30 oil you get 20, so it is technically a tiny bit more, but then you're not getting any polymer resin if you wanted to use that for the residual things, which maybe you don't, and then it's nice that way. But with that recipe, don't you also get, yeah, you also get polymer resin out of that anyway, so it's basically comparable. But then what's nice about that, right here, got tempered copper ingot. That's combining copper and petroleum coke to get copper ingot. Not really worth it unless you're making petroleum coke as a byproduct for some reason. But what we have here is diluted packaged fuel. This is so powerful. Let's look at this. So let's say you're taking in 30 per minute. Actually, let's make this $40. I want to make that equal 40. All right, so basically there. So from 40 heavy oil residue and then around 80 packaged water, you get around 80 packaged fuel per minute. And then that turns back into, it is a 1-to-1, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So you get double the amount of heavy oil residue. So if you were doing that from 30 crude oil, you would be getting 80 packaged fuel, and then you unpackage that back into just regular fuel. So from 30 oil, you get 80 fuel. From this, if we look at fuel, from 60 you get 40. So then that would be from 30 you'd only get 20. So it's a fourfold difference. If I go the heavy oil residue and then packaged fuel, diluted packaged fuel, you literally get 4 times as much. It's so insane. It's so good. So that's what we're going to be doing once I actually start that. And then later in the game, once we get access to the blender, that has more inputs and outputs for liquids and solids. So with that, you can get a different alternate recipe that is just diluted fuel, not diluted packaged fuel. So basically it's the same thing, but without the package or loop. So it'll be even simpler once we have blenders. But it's the same deal. We'll be making 4 times as much fuel from the same amount of oil, and it's so overpowered. So good. And then the other thing that I was thinking about in hard drives, let's look at the other new ones, by the way. So we got tempered caterium ingot, similar as the other tempered copper ingot, but with caterium. So petroleum coke, if you had that for a byproduct for some reason. And over here we have the iron coated canister. So instead of making it with plastic, you could make it with iron plates and copper sheets. I'm probably not going to need that, so I'll leave these 2 in here for now. And then we have plastic AI limiter. So that takes quick wire and plastic instead of quick wire and copper sheets. So if you want to do it that way for some reason. And then we got coated cable, which gives you more cable, but you're putting in heavy oil residue into it for some reason, and it's done in a refinery. So much more complicated. I would never take that. Then we got coke steel ingot. So instead of using... So you're getting 20 out of 15, so that's 3-to-4 ratio. So not as good as the 2-to-3, but it's still better than 1-to-1 of the basic. But instead of coal, you're using petroleum coke, which is kind of cool. If you have a bunch extra heavy oil residue that for some reason you're not turning into fuel, you can make it into petroleum coke and turn that into a bunch of steel ingots without needing coal around. I don't know why you'd really need that in particular, but it's an option. And then we got silicon circuit boards. So instead of making it with plastic, you can make it with silica. That could be useful if you got if you need circuit boards, but you don't have your what's the words? You don't have your oil stuff up yet. Anyways, I want to take a look back here because we got some stuff here that we might be interested in. None of these in particular. This may be later on. The fuse wire kind of looks silly. Caterium wire is also very silly, but not needed. I don't know why you'd want to use steel cast plates. That's just so overcomplicated. But the thing that we're actually looking for is right here. Not fine concrete. I would like to have it's not rough, but it's a different word, but the worse silica or whatever it actually is, but the inverse of this, where you're making more silica from concrete added into it, so you're using less quartz and using just more limestone. That's a good one. This one is not a good one though. You don't want to be turning silica into concrete. But anyways, wet concrete I kind of want, because instead of a 3-to-1 ratio, it is, let's see here, common denominator of these, I can get it down to 20, so 80 divided by 20, 4, and then 120 divided by 20, 6. 6-to-4, so that's 3-to-2. Oh nice, you finished phase 3, that's great. Yeah, you've went way ahead of me. I've been taking things way slower. Alright. But anyway, so this thing with the wet concrete, if you add in water and do it in refineries instead of in constructors, you get literally double out. So that is nice. Now I am actually debating whether I want to use it or not. I think I probably will, because we have water right here that we can use it at. It's a pretty convenient location. I got 3 nodes up there. I don't know if I want to bring the 4th node in, but let's see. So right now our max belt speed is 480, and it's probably going to be that way for a while. So let's think here. A maxed out Mark II can make 300 limestone. So let's go back to that alternate recipe. So instead of 120, let's say it's 300. 360 is times 3, so that would be 80 times 3. 240. So let's say 200. Yeah. So from a 300 node, I would be getting 200 out. And I have 3 nodes here, so then that would be 600 total. That's more than I can even put on one belt. But I probably don't want to do one belt only anyways, because I'm going to be supplying these things to different stuff. So I'll probably have it disconnected into a separate thing per node. How do I want to do this? Let me think how I want to do this. So I have 3 main nodes up there and then 1 node over there. I'm probably gonna do the 900 total like that. Yeah. Let's start with 1 node and just do it that way. But I think I do want to do the wet concrete because that's literally just double. Power isn't too much of a concern right now. I mean, it's getting close there. I could just double up my coal stuff now, though, now that I have Mark IVs. In fact, you know what? Let's do that quick. And now that I have the groundwork there, it should be very fast. Okay, so I need 8. I already have the power machines up there, so I just need 8 water extractors. Okay, so I just need to grab some more rotors. Oh, and then that's another thing that we have to do, which I should do right away. There's so much stuff to do now. Game's just whizzing by. Another thing that I didn't even show yet. Oh, I've been going over everything that I've done in between the whole start of the stream already. So, long story short, I got the summer sloop duplication set up here for all the proteins to DNA and then slugs to power shards, which actually I have to reconnect this. So yeah, big thing is that slugs to power shards, alien proteins and DNA, and then this was last episode. We made the encased industrial beams, and I have tons of those, so now I'm using Mark IV belts right now. And then the next big thing over here, just past our biofuel generators, we have this here. Now this is taking a ton of iron here. We have this Mark II miner making 277 point, it's supposed to be 277.777, but it's a little bigger because of how rounding is. And then that's going into all these, and it's going through, making that much, and it's coming out here. I'm using Mark IV belts for all this. I had made 2 blueprints, and later we will go over the specifics of the blueprints, but one of them is making rotors. One of them is making stators. If we come over here, we actually had a backlog of stators because I accidentally didn't have one of the blueprints set right for the motors. But we have motors and stators, or rotors and stators going into this and making motors. 10 per minute here, 10 per minute there, so then I just have enough for only 1 here, making 5 per minute motors. And then we got a big stockpile already. Oh yeah, but this stuff, it's literally only here. If I go into dismantle mode and I turn it to blueprint, 1 blueprint, 2 blueprint. I have all these just fully in Mark 1 blueprints even. So if I wanted to move this stuff, it's literally just 2 blueprints to plop down. Minimal things need to be connected because stuff auto connects now in 1.1. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, with the motors, it was pretty easy. I had a little bit of finagling around with some lifts on the ceilings going up to the 2nd floor, but it was pretty easy for the rotors. For the stators, though, I had to add more buildings because of how much extra stuff each one takes. Because it takes 80 wire total for the 2 machines, and then 30 steel pipes total, and I'm using the iron pipe recipe. So this thing uses just only iron. I don't have to worry about steel for this build. And then also iron wire, so I don't have to worry about copper for this build either. But it is more machines than it usually would be. And then with the rotor recipe, I'm using the steel rotor recipe, so it costs the same as the stators, but less of each item. Like stators, 15 steel pipes and 40 wires, so times 2 because I have 2 machines. And then rotors, they only need 10 and 30, so times 2 because I have 2 machines here, so only 20 and 60. That's a lot easier to do than the 30 and 80 over here. But anyways, those are just adding into this, just temporary thing. And then as we scale up, we can make this bigger and do other things there. I'm gonna tear this down eventually because I don't need to make rotors here anymore. Because I could just make another rotor segment like that. And then I want to make a factory for smart plating, or not smart plating, reinforced iron plate. Because this one is not efficient right now, but it is filling up slowly. That's the nice thing about having extra time. But anyways, this was a big thing. I have them saved in there. If I go to my blueprints here, I have a stator one, a rotor one. This thing doesn't matter right now because it doesn't matter. And then modular frames. I want to redo the modular frames, and then I have the encased beams. Well, we'll see. I do want to get Mark II, the Mark II designer for modules, the blueprint thing. That is nice. I almost have enough for this already. That's kind of silly. We already have all the motors for petroleum power. Tier 6. I want to get this right away, just then I have modular frames, and then I want to do Blueprint Mark II right away. Pipeline Mark II will be nice for the fuel stuff, and then I want monorails just in general. I want to play around with them. And then we're going to have to do phase 3 before I can get anything else done, so yeah. But I was thinking, in this current phase, I probably could make a pretty decent... I want to try a modular turbo fuel plant, because I've only done a non-modular one before, and I want to do a modular one, because then if it's modular like that, it'll be easier to reconfigure to doing rocket fuel, I suppose. But anyways, I want to do the concrete now, so I think we will unlock white concrete. Oh, and then the only other thing we did that's important is we explored more, got some more stuff. I went over to the grasslands starting zone, and we've been to the forest starting zone and the dunes starting zone. And there's nobelisks.
Detonate.
So we've actually been to all starting zones, and you get a silly trophy for that, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, A lot of the old ones are needed for the new ones, but you can never realize which ones are what until you start doing it, because some of them you don't need again. That's one thing that I didn't like about them, is like, I feel like if you're gonna reuse some, you should reuse all in equal importance, so then it makes sense to the player that you're gonna need them throughout most of the whole game for unlocking each phase. I don't want to go down that path. But anyways, we are going to upgrade the cement, and then the next thing we should do is start doing oil stuff, because that is kind of what's holding us back at the moment, is not having oil things done. All of my plastic and rubber right now is just from the dogs, and then whatever I picked up from crash sites. Speaking of dogs, all right, mostly junk. Ooh. Throw these in here, throw these in here, throw that in there. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm kind of glad that I haven't gotten to it ever yet, but I'm dreading it. What I'll probably do though is, since I'm getting wet concrete right now anyways, it'll be nice because then I can just, instead of having to loop back the water into it and worrying about flow issues and stuff, what I can do is just feed any excess water with limestone nodes to just make extra concrete and just sink it or whatever. So that'll be convenient. Also, you might want to look into, there are 2 alternate recipes for it. So gather some hard drives. There's 2 alternate recipes with the aluminum stuff that removes all the silica byproducts in and out, and that can simplify it a lot. So I would recommend looking for that before you really start the aluminum stuff. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? We are going to look at the limestone. No, we were going to unlock wet concrete. That's what we were doing. Gotta go to the man. Jeez. Scatterbrain. So much stuff. I was gonna unlock wet concrete, and then I was gonna upgrade coal. Can't forget to upgrade coal. Why am I over here? I need to go over here. Yeah, the silica out might be nice if it still does it that way. I don't remember exactly how those alternate recipes are. I heard it from someone else that they're useful. Let's see here. So oh, it's back up here. What concrete? So I'm gonna get that. Yeah. So for a 300, a refinery does 120. So I'm gonna need 3 refineries. Oh, not that far down. 200 into 3. 200 divided by 3. 66.66 repeating. 66. All right. Yeah. 100 makes that much. So what's 83.333 times 3? So 250 units of water. That's not even a full pipe. That's great. That's like, what, 3 extractors and not 100%? Anyways, let's upgrade the coal power first, because these refineries are gonna take a lot of power compared to constructors. Yeah, that is kind of how it is until you do housekeeping on it. That's another thing. I'm gonna have to upgrade this whole coal belt line to make it 480. Or will I? I'm gonna have to look. Because since the conversion is 2 to 3 instead of 1 to 1, I actually probably don't need 480 coal coming in order to get 480 steel coming out. I just have to see if 270 is enough to make it 480 on the other end, which I don't think it is, so I probably will still need Mark IV. But anyways, I think it is this line that's feeding this side. Probably want to deconstruct this and make another copy of this whole thing somewhere. Probably on the other side of the SAM node, and then pull that line over here. That's just our beginner factory. We got the double up here, which actually this is quadruple, because one side, this here is double what we have there, and we're just about to double this again. So let's do that. Place down a lookout tower. All right. Let's see how I want this. This building cannot be nudged. How do I have this one set? All right. So this is the usual lineup, so let's move it one kink over and see how that looks. Can't get any closer. Why does it keep trying to snap like that? I don't want it to snap like that. Yeah, that's still too close. Yeah. Mark II miners was a while ago. I think this is snapping correctly. Can I place it over here? That gets mad. Gets mad at that. How tall these things are. Nope. Maybe I'll do this and then that'll make it line up correctly, or maybe that'll just make it mad. Yeah, that just makes it too mad. I could remove this bit of it though. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, wait, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the middle. Oh. Rubber. Yeah. All right. Is that right? Oh, that's so close. It just gets too close and then it actually snaps. What if I delete this one? one that's already lined up with that one again. Let me replace this. Where's all the power going again? That's correct. Yeah, there we go. All right. Just needed to stop that one from interfering, and now all the rest should snap to the sides of each other here. Fine. Oh, if I can not be dumb about it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's make sure it looks good on this side too. Yeah. Perfect symmetry. I mean, a little bit different because the rotation is different, but... All right. Now we just have the pain of the pipes. Pipe pain. All right. Okay, so how I have them lined up, they're right in the middle. Okay. So right in the middle, bring up one. All right. Bring this all the way over here. Oh, come on. Oh, that one went down. There we go. All right, now we can do these. Oh, I don't like that that is defaulted to that. Okay. And 8. Oop. I'm gonna change this to noodle mode too. Noodle mode makes everything good. Alright, and now we just need to do the power. Pull off this. One, 2, 3. So this will provide for 5 of these. 3, 4, 5, and then I had to pull this down for the last 3. 1, 2, 3, and then up top the coal machines already get the power because I had that integrated already. All right, and then we're just gonna have to remove 2 foundations and do that weird vertical trick. And then we're gonna upgrade all this and down to Mark IV. And then I'll have a splitter here. So then it's still just Mark III's going along here. So I don't have to worry about retrofitting everything to make it Mark IV. Yeah, that's why I like the blueprints. Because even if you have spaghetti, it's contained to a single blueprint. And when you tile them, even spaghetti looks nice. It's so cool. All right. Gotta remove this whole bit here. All right. Wait a second. Am I a big dummy stupid? No. Okay, it should be fine. Oh wait, I am a big dummy stupid. It doesn't go here. I have a second foundation line that I just did not place yet. So I had to fix this whole thing I just did here. When working with pipes, prepare to rebuild 3 times. This only applies if your name is Roozle. I know I could mass pick pipe, but I don't wanna. I like seeing the bar go down. Imagine the type that likes seeing loading screens. But I just love to read the text on loading screens. They always got tips. At least modern games do. Alright, so it actually has to be lined up here. This is the place I want to run this stuff along. There you go. It's always nice when you have stuff like computers where you're doing court stuff mostly just for the MAM unlocks, but then eventually the main progression of the game, like the main components you're making, need it finally, and you're like, oh yeah, this infrastructure that I already had here is finally getting retrofitted for mainstream use. It's just so good. Yeah, there we go. I thought that the outlets were a little more curved than they should have been. Also, I don't know what's going on with these. Usually the head lift on this thing, the stated head lift, doesn't even reach to the top of this sprite. But for some reason, when you have a setup like this, and it's just going into these, for some reason it still works with the water, and I don't even have to use water towers. It's so weird. But hey, I'm not complaining if it works without having to have me use any pumps at all. That's the real bug. You were saying that water towers make sense. Well, this doesn't even have water towers. All right. I wish it was smart enough to know that there's outputs here above and that it should snap. Oh yeah, and it's always that thing where like when you start a new save a little while after like not playing the game for a bit, it doesn't feel that bad. But then once you get them back, you just realize how much you were missing out. And oh, yeah. The movement in this game is great when you have all the stuff for it. Nah. No. Oh. No, what? Oh, come on. That's gonna happen a lot, isn't it? Oh, look at this. Huge, beautiful. Big, beautiful factory. Big, big, beautiful. No! Let me up. No. Oh, did that disable already? Yeah, I didn't know how long. I know it lasted for more than a day, but I had disabled it manually because streaming stuff. If you change the date in your computer, if you want to bother doing that, you can turn it back on, I think. It works for the Christmas one, I know that. Oh yeah, I saw some of those. The overtime machine, stuff like that. The one in the bathroom is the one on fluid dynamics for dummies. Well, not for dummies, but for pioneers. But it's for dummies. That one's a real stab too, because there's so many documentation on how fluids work by gamers of people who players. Geez, why couldn't I think of players? Because it's just so confusing sometimes. So it's funny that that's kind of there as a jab. All right. Oh, that's right on the stilt. I'm not gonna bother. That one can be off. I don't want to have to replace that. Yeah, need that good cooking. We don't even need to eat though. I wonder if Ada would approve. She does not like the Christmas event for how it's not productive. So I wonder if the food making thing she would feel the same way about. Alright, now each of these can attach. Why is there such a delay on that when it's just a single pipe? I feel like that's a very big delay for just a single pipe that's not even particularly large. Or long, I guess pipes aren't large, they're long. Well, I guess the diameter could be large. Well, I don't think we're robots. Because we smell like we would smell the sulfur if the filter on our mask wasn't good enough. We have poison gas that hurts us. We have to get a gas mask for that. So we breathe at least, I know that. I assume that us not having to eat is just for gameplay reasons, and we are humans. So the cookbook in lore makes sense. I was just being cheeky with it, but it makes total sense. Alright, so these should start getting filled with water already. Yeah. Now we literally just need the other manifold. So let's see here. Just got a bunch of splitters. Alright. Yeah. And we might not need water because it could be one of those types of suits where it like reclaims the pee and stuff. Like astronauts or whatever. I mean, we can eat the berries and the barrel nuts and the mushrooms for health. So we do consume food in game. It's just not required for not dying unless you're, you know, just health. I'm just gonna make this Mark 3 the whole way through, and then each connecting to the things can be Mark 1 because those only need 15 each anyways. Okay. Make it... Nope, I need Mark 3. But straight. Correct? Yes. Okay. And then Mark 1s now. Do all of these. $16 more. So this is doubling. I love how the Mark III belts are pulling me along, so it was enough to just make me go to the next belt without having to press any arrow keys. That's nice. Sometimes when you're going against the flow, though, high mark belts are very annoying when you're building. Most of the bauxite, just so you know, most of the bauxite is along this central band here. That's where most all of the nodes are gonna be. Just generally along here. I mean, when you scan it, you'll see, but this is where most all bauxite nodes are. And I mean, bauxite, that's just what aluminum ore is. It's funny because iron ore is actually a bunch of different things. Hematite, magnetite, geosite, limonite, siderite. Those are like compounds though. Yeah, a bunch of different things. And then copper is... what's that one? I'm thinking of a certain one with copper. Malachite. So all the ores have different silly names with them. It's just for some reason the game only gives the silly name of the ore to bauxite when the rest are just given whatever the ingot, but instead of calling them ingot, they call it ore, but it's the same name. It is kind of weird. All right, let's see here. So I want a splitter. Oh, okay then. And then Mark 3. Curve into that. And now from here backwards, it needs to be Mark 4. All right, I'll be right back in a second, and then we'll upgrade that, and then that'll be good there. Oh yeah, it's great. It's almost cheaty, but I mean, it's a single player game for the most part. Do whatever you need to do. Alrighty, back to it. So I can just start here. I'll just follow this back up. Unfortunately, rebuilding it is shoving all that coal into my inventory. Or at least a little bit of it, I think. Okay. So now this thing needs to make 480, so we need some power shards. I wish you could grab out less than the whole stack. Okay, there we go. 480. Alrighty. So now it's going half and half. You know, I see some people not use the clean pipelines because they want to be able to see whether it's full or not. Like, I get from a distance that makes sense, but if you're up close anyways to them, you can literally press on the clean ones and it still shows you all the info there. It's not like you have to walk up to those gauges to see the info. You can see it along the whole pipeline at whatever spot you're at. Alright, so this stuff should start filling in. These ones are already going. The normal one. Why? Oh, everything's gonna have a little downturn because of how that is. That's kind of annoying. How much coal do I have on me? And can I grab more coal? I only have 12. Alright. I'm gonna head to this side. It's gonna take a while for these all to fill up, but when they do, I'll have a lot of power. This will definitely be enough power until I start doing fuel and turbo fuel, so it's all good. But yeah, there's a little hiccup here because when I was replacing the belts, it stopped it running for a little bit. Luckily, it wasn't enough to have to deal with power. There's some fluctuations there. Why is why is the line stopping here? That's weird. Why is the line stopping there? Yeah, bauxite, it's in the higher area places for the most part, so you're gonna get a lot of hog action. Hopefully no nuclear ones. Here's some extra coal. I'll throw this over here. Then I had this line of sulfur coming in. I have an impure node up there, so I can't make that much at a time, but I'll probably mix some sulfur with some coal and do some explosives. I'd like to get, if I can find an iron node up here, I'd like to automatically make explosive rebar. That would be nice. Alright, I'm just gonna shove 100 into here, 100 into here, and then 50 into this one. Just help to fill up the manifold a little bit. And then yes, this is already filling these, and then this will keep filling along the way. Alright, so we're already starting to get some greens. We should be able to see all of the lights from here. Yeah, so it's already starting to go along. That's good. If you do that, that just bypasses the whole point of trains and drones. I don't know if they would do anything like that. I feel like that is something for mods to do if you want, but I feel like in vanilla, that job is already covered by drones specifically, and then train networks in general and other things like that. I just feel like across the map, automated movement shouldn't be teleportation like that. I think you should have to have some sort of infrastructure in place to have items go automatically from one end of the map to the other. I think that they balanced it to only have the dimensional depot be just a manual inventory type thing. I think that that's a good idea. I think that the way they have it implemented is pretty good. Of course, then you gotta deal with it being in loads and whatnot, but you can just have extra containers and stuff, and you know, you deal with it. Like, that's the challenge. That's what makes it good. Did that one die? Where's the... No, he just... Look, see? He ragdolled and he wasn't even dead. What a faker. Come here. Oh, you died to the stun? Okay, I see how it is. Come here. Alright. That was wacky. Anyways, we got the cooldown, so now I want to do concrete stuff. But slowly these are coming along. These still have yet to fill up fully. This one's full. So yeah, it's filling up. It's coming down. It's already like halfway there. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like if you're going to have that much caveats, it would almost make using something like drones easier. And if you're that late game, stuff that you would want to go across the whole map probably isn't going to be high volume like that. Like if it's unlocked and accessible to do things that late game, you already had to make infrastructure for the whole game before that anyways. So I would only see it working on low volume items, which drones are particularly good at low volume stuff. I don't know. I feel like that would be a good thing for a mod. Like, it would be a perfect idea for a mod. I just feel like with how the balancing is, they'd have to redo so much stuff to make that work. Oh, another thing we should do, and actually I'm going to do it right now. Before concrete, because for some reason I want to keep putting off concrete. I don't know why, I just want to keep putting off concrete. Oh, I just hit my head on that. Why am I hitting? Wow, that did not line up right at all. Why? Okay then. Usually I jump and it lands me like here. Why am I not? Okay, that time it did it fine. Huh. Well, anyways. I should make a quick thing for hypertubes. So let me look again. I haven't done hypertubes in a while. So we got the hypertube itself. This places down like conveyors, entrance, and support, and junction. Oh, so when I press E, it goes through every single thing. Okay. So all of these are considered one thing with the cycling. Okay. Hypertube entrance, that's how generally you'd have a bunch of these entrances on supports spaced out one single tick. So like you'd have this here, this here, this here, this here, but then you would, oh, one more, this here, but then you would get rid of every other. So it was spaced out one, and then you'd place an entrance on each of these or whatever. I need more rotors for that to work, so I'm gonna have to grab some rotors. But anyway, so you would usually do that, and then you'd make it however much length is needed to shoot you out as far as you need to go. But each of those takes up their own power, and I want to minimize them because that's a lot of power. I should just put a depot on this. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Just shove a cheeky depot there. Oh, come on. Why did that turn? There we go. Yeah, that's probably the design I'm gonna do. But when I used them for the first time in my first world, I did one of the designs where it was just a single linear line. But that thing takes up so much power, especially if you're putting a bunch of them around the map. So I want to do one where it only needs one or two actual entrances for acceleration. And then it just loops itself. So let's see here. How does this work? A three-way hypertube junction that allows travel to and from any of its directions. A one-way hypertube branch that allows another hypertube to split off from an existing path. The branching hypertube can only be accessed when entering from the long side, the longer side. Can be built on its own onto an existing hypertube or attached to a hypertube support or junction. I think I'll probably use the branch then, right? Place down some supports. And put some hypertube in between. Can I place a branch on existing? Yes. I can't make it go vertically? That's kind of weird. Thought you can make these go vertically. Let me think about this. I mean, I could make it sideways. It probably would work the same. I just thought I could do it vertically and that would look cooler. Wait a second. Maybe it's like with those jump pads. With the jump pads, you place them first and then you adjust the angle. Maybe you place it and then you can rotate it vertically after placing. Oh, yep, that's exactly how it works. Okay, so I can do it vertically. Now I just have to think about how I want it to be done. Well, let's just place one for now. Let's have it floating by its own. And then we can build off of it. Yeah, that would be cool to do. Probably get like a 3D printed helmet. There's a bunch of different helmet designs to choose from, so you could almost find something elsewhere that wasn't meant for it, but like looks close enough anyways. And then you get the overalls and the silly gloves and stuff. You'd have to make the fix-it patches on the glove there that you see. That would be pretty silly. Here, let's go. That's with the... Okay, I should take off all the mods. All the equipment, I should say. Unless you'd want the equipment as part of the costume, of course. A working one, maybe not. One for show, probably. Okay, so if I take all these off. Making a Xeno Basher would be cool. Or I guess probably just a Xeno Zapper. But that would be cool to do. Have a working, or not working, but you know, prop Xeno Zapper or Xeno Basher. That would be funny. Let's see here though. So that's just a mounting. You don't need the mounting as part of the costume probably. But you got, yeah, kind of, you got like this, they make those straps there they make, it's like safety vests, but it's only the straps and not the actual vest part, like none of the inner fabric. So they make those already, and then all you'd have to worry about to make it accurate to the model is getting an embossed Fix-It logo, but you could probably just do a sticker like that. Yeah. Maybe LEDs, but I don't know if you'd want live electricity arcing, but LEDs to make it look like that would be cool, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, you can get like probably even like I've seen stuff like gardener gloves that look like that. And then depending, I mean, the color style can be anything because it's customizable in game, so that doesn't even matter as long as it is all matching. And then you just got to get some overalls. Now, the weird thing with these kind of comes out there, and then you have like a body glove. The body glove part would probably be the more complicated bit of it. But other than that, I mean, the straps, the only thing that's unique is the Fix-It patches and then the Fix-It logo on the belt buckle itself. Let's see. Yeah, just the Fix-It logos. Everything else is pretty standard for a work uniform. I mean, just normal work boots would be fine. Knee pads. But yeah, the body glove and then the helmet itself would probably be just the two big things then. That would be the most labor intensive or involved, I guess. Alrighty, anyways, back to this. Why am I feeling slow? Oh, I took off the Blade Runners. I was literally like, why do I feel so slow? We were just talking about that earlier, and I just experienced that right now. That's so funny. Can I jump into this thing? No, you need an entrance, don't you? All right, well, let's look here. So anyways, this thing's gonna wrap around and will I want it to wrap around and connect to this side or wrap around and connect to that side? Well, how am I gonna shoot out? That's the big thing. Because there's got to be some sort of control on whether to loop back or not loop back. It did say I have to, in order to go to this, I have to do it the long way. Like, the long way is the only way to choose. So I guess this bit would have to loop back around to this long way to be able to shoot. And then this would be shooting forwards. So then out of this, I'd have it ramped up. So then I'll probably have this come around the top here and then over here. And then I'll have some sort of opening here that's thin enough where when I'm coming out of this, it goes back into it immediately and keeps wrapping up, but then wide enough that I can jump into it. All right, so we're gonna want an entrance here. Let me just think about this more. All right, I guess we should just put down. Can I rotate? Okay. Can I have this snap better too? Does it not snap? Oh, it snaps if I do this. Here. Let me just... Oh, why too much copper sheets, huh? Well, I don't need these in my inventory right now. Or these. Or this. Or that. Oh, well, I can't put that on now. Or that. There we go. Probably. I've never put a miner on bauxite yet because I've never gotten to using them. I've happened upon bauxite nodes, but I've never put them on them because I don't need them yet. So I don't even know how much comes out of them. I have never gotten to it yet. I've never gotten to aluminum stuff yet. So I've never had to look into all the ratios or anything yet. I just know that I've watched one video about it, but I forgot most of the info. I just know that there is a alternate recipe. Okay, so when I do that, that doesn't let me... So I can't rotate it vertically if I am trying to snap to the ground here. What if I place down a wall? I just want this to snap to the grid good. When I place it against the pipe, it doesn't snap to the grid good. Why didn't... Oh, zoom mode. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Now that should be on grid better. Doesn't look like it, but hopefully it is. Anyways, I just want to place along this. There we go. Now it's blue. That's what I wanted. And then I suppose I just want an entrance here. In there, right? Yeah. Get rid of that support. Probably don't need that support. Then that'll go into there. Probably gonna need a gap of some sort. Probably. Before it loops around. Let me think about this. Also, I might want to have more than one entrance on the loop because I would like to speed it up a little bit. Well, you know what? Let's try it without any gap. Let's just place a support right here and see if I'll be able to get into that from the side or not. Oh, wait a second. I can remove the support and it'll still be a good exit. And then, like, the sprite of the actual thing will probably be like around over here. So then there will be a gap. Yeah, so that probably should work. So now, let's do something like that right now. Let's see if that works for something. Let me just copy this. Save that. We'll finalize it when it's actually ready, but I just want to see if this does anything interesting. All right, let's come out to here. Let's just place down a couple walls so then If it works too well, I don't fly to my death. All right. Okay, let's just place it like right there. And then this needs to connect to there. So now it should be on. Let's see, can I jump into this? Oh, okay. How do I choose? Do I like press up or left or right, or maybe it's E? Oh. Oh, yeah, E. And then I'm holding it down. Oh, wow. Oh, that's fast. How do I stop it? It's still... How do I make it go down? How do I exit? I don't know how to exit. Oh no, oh no. Let me look up. I'm literally just stuck in a loop right now. This is so funny. How do I get out? Okay, but I'm tapping. Oh, there we go. I was like spamming E to get out. Well, that definitely works. That inline, yeah. So now if I do that, so I gotta like hit E right as I'm going in. Yeah, okay, I got it now. Stream delay. There we go. So that was the reason why I was holding it earlier, but I think it only works when you're physically in the branch and you tap E. But I was going so fast that I kept being in the rest of the loop, and when I'm in the rest of the loop, it doesn't matter until I'm actually in this. So I had to like spam it, but yeah. Okay, that's interesting. But I had to press E right when I enter, and that's kind of annoying to do. Wonder if there's a way to not have to do that. But I mean, this works. And now it's getting to speed, and then I can add more entrances into this. Probably an entrance on top of the other one to make it get up to speed faster. Look at that. Pretty decent. All right, now I want to... We're gonna have one over here somewhere, and I want it to shoot all the way across from here, all the way over to the dunes. I want to angle it right and everything. But we can delete this now. Yeah. Yeah, now I get that. Spamming to get out doesn't matter too much, but having to hold, like, tap it right as you get in, that's a little too much skill if I'm going to be doing it often. So I'm going to have to figure out a way. What I could do is make the entrance not right on the thing. So like, instead of having the entrance right here, I could have the entrance out a little bit. Give it some room so that when I enter, I have some time before I hit this to have to press E. Yeah, let me think about this some more. Yeah, all right. Let's remove this and this and that. So we will pull it out about here, I suppose. All right. Now let's see how this works. Can I like grab a support? Oh yeah, I can nudge things vertically now. I forgot it. I always forget that you can nudge vertically now. It's so nice. Page up and page down. Let me see, how high do I want this? I want to angle it probably too. I'll probably just pull it to right there. And then probably do it to like right here. Then let's pull this into that. There's different modes too. Probably noodle just looks best. Yeah, that ain't too bad. And then we'll put another well, we don't want the entrance on that. We can take another support and put it right here and then page up this. Nope. There we go. And then we'll remove this. And then we'll put another entrance on this. There we go. So then that's an entrance into there. And then I just have to have this loop back around into this nicely. How do I want to do that? I should have left more room on this side. I should have put this over here more. Well, I suppose I just need to place a support here. Right up against this, right? Why is that? Okay, whatever. And then this can get pulled down to this. Yeah. And then this goes away. So then I enter here. Now this gives me some more space, and then comes up here, revs me up here and here. Now I will add a power pole. and connect both of these to it, so I only have to pull off the power pole. And now let's make our launcher. Probably just like that. They should give pumps two connections like how lights are, so you can chain them together to one wire. You mean like water pumps? Yeah, I don't know why they don't make daisy chaining more of a universal thing. Lights are only one of the like actual integrated things that you can daisy chain. I used to think that's how batteries work too, but then I realized, oh, batteries are just like power poles. You pull off them anyways. They're not daisy chaining. You can just connect multiple things with the battery. All right, that's good. And then as we place these down, we can remake this tube to aim wherever we want it precisely. And then otherwise, this should be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this Hypertube Cannon. Nothing needed there. We'll just set it to undefined. That doesn't matter too much. I'll do the branch for it. All right, say. And I can clear that. Now I want to edit because I want to get rid of this one. There we go. Oh, apply. There we go. Now let's take our stuff back, and there we go. Directory. So set directory. When you press that, the different, you can add tabs here. So like your build menu. If you go to your build menu, they have different tabs here, you know, for each of the different types of things. Same with the customizer, there's different tabs, and there's even different subsections where you have different things in each subsection. Your blueprints, you get to do the same type of thing. You can add tabs. You can rename them and give them different logos. And you can add whichever type of thing you want into those tabs. And you can add new subcategories. So I can make another subcategory like that line there into there and stuff like that. That's all the directory is you're choosing where you want it to be saved to. So like, I have a category here for all my factory modules. I might want a different category for my power tower things and my hypertube cannon things and my train line blueprints. It's just like a file system, just so then it's all organized. Really useful for the big Satisfactory YouTubers that make tons of blueprints for a bunch of different things with a bunch of different versions and stuff, and you want to categorize them easier so it's easier to find all the stuff in there. Anyways, with this, now we can head out and test it out. I forgot I have corner road barriers. Pretty silly. Tarp construction, construction fences, barriers, road barriers. All right, anyways, just place another 3x3. Now if I go to hypertube cannon and we turn it this way, let's get rid of that, so then it'll fire straight out. And now let's connect this to power. This. There we go. Alright, let's try it. So I just want to enter right here. That I did not. Let me try that again. How, geez, it's really... You gotta really hit it right when you're there. Let me try that again then. Okay, so if I spam it, it does it easy. So I have to spam in and out. That revs up way faster, way faster. Alright. Now let's make it actually ramped again. So now if I enter and I spam... Oh. There we go. Zoom, 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 zoom. Alright. Oh! Oh, wait. Oh no.
Fixit property will not function outside of Fixit property. Return Fixit property to Fixit property immediately.
That was too fast. Did we lose our crate now? Where is it? No. Okay, that's good. I think it leaves it where our last ground touching was at. That's funny though. That's really funny. There's all our stuff. No, it was all right there. Let me make sure. Yeah, it was right there. That's lucky though. I was fully expecting all our stuff to just be in the void and then I'd have to edit the location with Satisfactory calculator or something. Okay, so that's the thing. If I can't get out of it in time, how am I supposed to do that? That's an actual issue there. Oh, I'm not in the hub much, so I don't really even notice that. Also, I'll inevitably die to some creature anyways. Where is this located again? There it is. 0. Geez, the color palette I chose really works well on this. And some of the stuff is still orange, but with the purple and the green, that's all secondary colors. So it goes pretty well, even with some of the stuff staying orange. Alright, anyways, so... I mean, it works, but it almost works too well. Well, I mean, it doesn't work good enough because I can't exit it when I want to exit it. That's the thing with linear ones. You can set it to be as long or short as you need it, and then you just jump in and it does it the exact amount that you need, and you don't have to worry about having to enter and exit. Alright, that's a little more reasonable. Also, why can't I pull my chute? It's because I'm going up, right? You can only pull it once you start going down? Yeah. Interesting. Look at that. I'm above that thing. Can I get to that? I don't think it has collision, right? If it has collision and I can sit on top of that, that would be really cool. Look at our coal factory here. We can see everything from here. It's so pretty. some of the shadows are being weird, but it does. Oh, that's cool. Well, we're about to do that then. It's cool that they thought about it having collision. Now, I know the one way up there doesn't, but that's never supposed to be reached. Oh, what? Did you know that was gonna happen? How, what? It just immediately kills me. What the heck was that? Wow. Well, there's my death crate, so at least I didn't lose all my stuff. Alright, where... Here we go. That... Well, I guess that happens now. Well, you haven't been up there since... You only played, like, way back in the betas and stuff, right? You haven't played in a long while until now? Or was that the other guy that was in my chat the other day? Because maybe it was different in the betas. Or maybe I landed on a particular... I landed on that thingy. Maybe I'm not supposed to land on that thing. Maybe I'm supposed to land more central or somewhere else on it. That was funny. Okay, well, then that's really weird. But I'll trust you on that. Also, why isn't this... Why do these things keep turning? I don't set them to be turned. There we go. Okay. Now this should be fine. All right. So we probably won't mess around with those too much right now. But it's cool that I got a blueprint of it now, and I'll probably mess around with it again later, see if I can make it a little bit easier to control somehow. Maybe make a larger design. I don't need it to be compact, really. Also, all of our doggos are under in the depths of hell again. I don't want to fix that right now. Alright, anyways, next order of business. Let's look at how much power I'm making right now. 3,000? That's nice. Let's do some concrete. Because we're gonna need... You know what? I just want to max out all of our concrete nodes with this stuff. Because we're gonna need the concrete for the beams. Yeah, I don't know why they keep doing that. They love to burrow, apparently. They love to mine all the way to bedrock. It's pretty silly. I wonder if you built out to the void and went down 12,000, if that's even possible, if they would go down even farther then and like die from being out of bounds or something. Okay, anyways, we're probably gonna have to rip all this up. In fact, I think we should do that. That's gonna be annoying, but we will do that at some point. I should stop trying to distract myself and just make this concrete. Now, actually, I want to do this down over here and pipe it in because I need it to be where the water's at. So let's put down... We're gonna use the refinery one. We're gonna do wet concrete. Gonna try it for once. Okay, so at 100% clock speed, and I'm only going to do that. I'm not going to make it above that. We've got 120 into 80. So that's 3 to 2. And then 100 water. So each normal node can do 300. So for 100, that's what, 66.666 repeating? Yeah, okay. So then we will want 3 machines per node. I'm gonna pump in 4 nodes worth. So we're gonna get 400 out total. So that means I'm gonna need 12 refineries. So actually, let's place that back down. For 12 refineries doing that. What was it? 66.66. Okay. 83.33 repeating times 12. $999.96. What if I do it times 9? $749.997. All right. It's gonna be a lot of water. How much does that do? 120 usually. All right. Oh, let's get this planned out here. Probably pull off this foundation's worth. Oh, I kind of want to do it right on the water line though, don't I? Yeah, I'll get the Tesla later. Oh. Why isn't it letting me build down there? Let me build down. What the heck? Oh, is it because it's vertical and not zoop mode? Ugh, fine. Well, yeah, they go up the same as regular stuff goes up. It's just, it's its own separate thing. And it's less, so early game they're worth a lot more than normal things, even high value normal things. Fine, I'll just do 1 meter. Why does it hate me? Why doesn't it want to snap right? I don't understand. I don't get it. What if I pull you to shore? Then will you make it work? What the heck? Well, the coal generators, I have all my coal up there. Okay, so I'm down here right now. This is my main base area right now. Our coal gen stuff is up here. It already has water there. Why would I bring the coal stuff down here or bring the water up there when I have coal and water here already? That's the thing. But all the water extractors I'm doing right now is for the concrete. I could just put the stuff up there, I guess. Let's see, how tall are these? Too tall for that to be over it. All right. I don't need that much though. I don't need to run more coal right now. I have plenty of coal until I'm by the time I need more power, I'll be making fuel stuff. It's fine. I think. I'm gonna need, what was it? Like just under, yeah, 750. Each of these does 120. $6.25, so I'm gonna need 7 extractors. If I place them like right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I am gonna need some room. Wait, how big were these again? Would I be able to put them underneath that? No. It would have to be like 2 more up from that even. Let me think about this. We could run them along here. Oh, safe scumming for the scans? I mean, that is cheating. But like I said with the free cam thing too, it's a mostly single player game. Unless you're playing on a server and they disallow it, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, I've done some of that safe scumming before. To be honest though, as long as you're grabbing a bunch of hard drives and then you're banking and keeping bad ones in the library until like to fill up the library so you're more likely to get the good stuff, it really isn't needed to scum, but it's there if you want it. I mean, yeah. Also, I have plenty of, like, this thing's almost full. Yeah, 2/3 of the way there. I can get rid of this now. Oh, it did not like that. Oh, it did not like that. Look at all that. Let's get rid of these. I don't need all those ingots there. Take all that. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of all these foundations, so then we have room for the other thing. We're going to have to reroute this iron probably down there more. I don't know if I want to remove the biomass stuff. Probably. Probably, yeah. Yeah, I know, but the great thing about having blueprints is you saw how fast I dismantled that? That's how fast I can place them. And then you just belt the inputs in. But yeah, no, I will need the motors. But yeah, no, that's the beauty of modular factories, is I can just keep picking them up and placing them back down wherever I need them until I finally figure out what I'm doing with my life and have them in the spot that I'm just gonna leave them forever. But until then, I can keep picking them up and placing them down just for the unlocks that I need. Once they're needed for other things, bigger things, then I will have them down permanently in a spot that I know they're going to stay in. But for now, I don't need to do that. don't need all those plates in this in my inventory. Okay. Let's see here. Well, what you want to do is with your blueprint, you want to include the main belt. And you want to include the splitter with the main belt. And then when you're placing a blueprint now, if you press R, it turns into auto connect mode. You see, so for instance, that was what, my rotor thing. I have these two belts here. So the bottom belt is coming in here, going out there, and then I have a splitter here, which is pulling it off and bringing it into all of my machines here. So the bottom is the input, inputting the ingots. And then this here, this top second line is actually coming from above. That's the output. And then I have that running along to the same side, and I just have them on extended razors. And then I have a merger going into it, and then it's going along into this. And you can set these up differently depending on how your depending on how your module layout is. You might want this output to be on the opposite side of the input. You might have it running the opposite way of the input, but it makes it a lot better to have this thing where you have your central line with the highest value of conveyor belt that you have. So then you can just plug the input into that and run these along in a line. Or now that we have splitters and mergers for conveyor lifts, you could make this a skyscraper and make it so that it's buildable on top of each other, and instead of it connecting with these, you connect with connect the lifts somehow and do it that way, and then you have splitters and mergers off of the lifts and whatnot. That's probably a little more complicated, but if you don't like it expanding out laterally and you want it to go vertically, that's a way to do it. All right. Anyways, let's get rid of this. Yeah, well, I mean, another good thing with the modular factories, you can put walls around them. I mean, the most important thing is it works. It doesn't have to look good, as long as it works. Looking good is just a bonus. I'm gonna have to get rid of all these foundations. And if I'm getting rid of this biofuel factory right here, I have a bunch of these containers here too. Maybe I won't do that. I'm gonna want to replace this somewhere else, but yeah, we can get rid of all this. All of that. I'm gonna pull the dismantle crate to up here. There it is. That's another cool trick. Actually, I'm gonna do that again and show it, because this is a cool trick that I learned from another Satisfactory YouTuber. I think it was from Dakoba as well. I watch a lot of his stuff and it's great. But let's see here. So I have all of this with literally all of my inventory stuff, and it's all here. Now I'm gonna destroy all this. Can I unselect that? Let me do that again. So only the boxes, please. Well, the foundation doesn't matter. Anyways, so if I grab all of these here, they're all the way over here. And this works across the map, by the way. As long as you go to another section, you don't deselect, and then you grab something else that you can dismantle, and you do it there. Now, wherever you're standing, the dismantle crate is going to be like over there. Unless I'm stupid. I might be stupid. Where did that go? So we got a dismantle crate here. Oh, did it go into the same one? Yeah, there it is. It went into that same one there. So it'll always be nearby you, wherever you were standing. That's kind of funny. And that works across the whole map. I saw someone use it. I think it was Dakoba, I'm pretty sure. They had a bunch of storage containers with all of their building items for the next build that they were going to make. They selected to deconstruct that, and then they went like halfway across the map to where they're going to build, and then they had like a little wall set up there to deconstruct there, and then it brought the whole thing to there, so then you didn't need to carry it over a bunch. Control once unselected. All right, yeah, I was probably holding it too long. But anyways, I just did that, so now all those are over there and I don't have to deal with them. Get rid of all this now. I can only get up to 50, all right. That's probably not going to place the dismantle crate over here then. Unless it did. Maybe because that one's existing, it just popped it all into that one. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it, but I don't see any other pings on my map here. We got one here. We only have two on the map, because that there and then that one there. What's this, by the way? Oh yeah, that was my thing for having a chip there that I'll have to go to eventually, and then that was mine for the sulfur. So anyways, I came all the way down here and even found some of the void. This is where the grasslands area is, so I have a line going all the way over there. Yeah. And then it's funnier because the concrete foundations is just 7 concrete and then no plate. Like, that makes a little bit more sense. But also, are these like rivets or something? Or is that literally just cosmetic holes? Like, how is this thing constructed with this when it's only concrete? But yeah, these plates here, it's like, oh, you have all these little grills and all these studded things. 2 plates. 2 plates. You somehow, it's like gilded gold. Like gold leaf sheets. You gold leafed the plates and laid them out across the whole thing here. And along the whole side. And along the bottom too. All right, let's place that back. So I need to get rid of this, that. I have silica on me. Weird. Anyways, we're probably just gonna make another huge platform that's closer to the water then. And then, yeah. So we're gonna do a big ol' that. Whoa, didn't like that. This space should be enough at least, but then we'll probably extend it out to be lower even farther. And we'll smooth everything out. Actually, do I want it to be lower or do I want it to be higher so then I can just put the water extractors underneath? Might do that. Then I might need pumps. But, I mean, who cares if I need pumps? I'll be making a huge turbo fuel factory soon. Soon-ish. Relatively soon. Got so much motors now. You'll love to see it. What's this? Is this destructible? I bet that's the thing that had in the Merchosphere or whatever. The slug on it, right? Yeah. Alright, I procrastinate way too much when I'm trying to just make this stupid concrete factory. It should be simple. No, but I've heard of them. Actually, yeah, I've so like a lot of the tutorial stuff, I don't really pay too much attention to who makes the tutorials unless it's like really memorable to me. A lot of it is like, oh, I'm searching on YouTube like I'm using Google. I'm not like subscribed to a lot of them. I'm subscribed to some of them if they also have Let's Plays, because generally I like watching the Let's Plays. That's why I like Dakoba so much. He's got a great Let's Play series recently. The way that he does it too, it's just jam-packed with useful information. So it's almost like roundabout tutorials, and then his time lapses are great. But yeah, I've probably watched some of I'mKibit's videos, but just not realized that that's who it is from. If you gave me a video to watch, and then I probably immediately recognize the voice or something like that. But yeah, for the Turbo Fuel Factory, I'm still kind of torn because I was thinking I probably do want to use a blueprints maker and try to fit everything into that. Here, actually quick, let's save. Just for this, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Let's go into my old world quickly. Oh boy. Where am I at right now? Oh yeah, I'm already here. So this one is built in the blue crater. This thing is by far not efficient. It's not even running 100% optimally. This was my first world, like, major playthrough when 1.0 was new. Yeah, so like I got all of the water extractors down here, and I didn't want to pump up the water. So I have 3 lines here coming to all of these extractors. I have this weird lattice thing because of how I'm using the pipes and how it is and how the throughput is. I got all of the packagers coming in, going out. I'm using Mark IV belts here, but I got multiple lines coming through. Oh yeah, it is cool. It is cool. So I got like 4 lines of them coming through here. And then I have them all going up here. Let's see here. And then I got even one here. This stuff is for... Let's see, what is this doing? That's making rubber for me. Okay. So that was my little rubber thingy here. So I was just running rubber off that. All right. And then all of the resin is coming off into here. I think I had this set up. Oh yeah, no, because this thing takes polymer resin to make it, because that's the residual rubber. Okay, yeah. So I was making residual rubber here, and then that's all of the polymer resin coming through there. Where is my ladder? My ladder. Where are you at? Where art thou, ladder? Do I not have my ladder here? Fine. 3. Jetpack. Okay, anyways. Let's start from the beginning. So, over here, I got a line of crude oil coming in. Let's go check it out. Let's see exactly how much I got here. 540 coming in. So I don't even have this maxed. But I got 540 coming in. And then we're turning... I even have all of these. I wanted to use less machines, but I wanted to have a lot of throughput, so I was overclocking like everything. And none of this stuff is particularly well done, but... So 67.5 for each of these, making 90 heavy oil residue per minute, and then 45 polymer resin per minute. I got like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 machines here. Hey, it's the power of heavy oil residue alternate, and then the diluted fuel and diluted packaged fuel alternate. It's just so good. Anyways, I got it coming into here in a weird manifold, and then like they're all connected, but then I have them split out into 2 different pipes coming this way. Now the flow with these is pretty good. It should be like right on with these. And then all the heavy oil residue is coming in with all of the water. I had the manifolds all weird. So each of these bits is feeding 3 of these here. This one is feeding 3 here. This one is feeding 3 here. Actually, no, this one is feeding 2. And then this one is feeding 2. Yeah, so I was doing a 3-3-2-2. I really could have benefited from using a modular setup and having the packagers as part of a module, and then having a central water line run that way, because most of the inefficiencies coming from just not being able to bring in the water good enough, and it just keeps building up in the wrong places. But anyway, so all of these, I got like what, 10 of these? Yeah, because 3-3-2-2, so 10 of these, taking 72 per minute of the heavy oil residue, and then 144 per minute of packaged water, making 144 packaged fuel. And then from all that, so 144 times 10, 1,440 fuel coming out of this. And then I'm unpackaging it. Actually, wait. Yeah, I have these set higher than needed, so then I'm making sure that it's unpackaging fast enough. Because I didn't want this to be the clog point, but unfortunately filling up the water and bringing it back up here is still a clog point somehow. But anyways, then all the empty canisters head out. All the empty canisters come this way. I've even got like overlapping things. Like this is 2 of them right next to each other underneath this. Yeah, you can see there. And then I have them just come this, another one here. 3 overlapping lines here. 4 overlapping lines here. And this is split up again into the 3, 3, 2, 2. And then that comes back down. So 2 machine lines are isolated. And then another 2 machine lines are isolated. And then another 3 machine lines are isolated. And then another 3 machine lines are isolated for the filling and unfilling of the canister loops. So there's 4 different canister loops and 4 belts. All right, and then all this fuel, I have another huge lattice thing here. I'm pretty sure I can set this up to be more efficient. It comes out here, starts going into the machines here, and then I have it extending all the way down here. And it's going all the way down here. Still all the way down here. Got this whole long lattice here. I have so many of these machines here because this thing's making 1,440. Each one of these is taking in 45 of that, and then it's making 37.5 turbo fuel. And then all the compacted coal is coming in. We'll look at compacted coal later, but let's just look at the output of the turbo fuel. So this is all the fuel coming through here, going into the turbo fuel. And then as you'll probably notice, those later ones down there, the turbo fuel isn't able to come out. That's the bottleneck here. For some reason, the turbo fuel just isn't feeding out good enough. So then if I go around to the other side, this is all the turbo fuel here. I have this weird lattice structure again, but then I have it 2 lengthways. And then I do this weird crisscross here. So this line is the same as this line. And then this line here just continues forwards the normal way. So it like flips. This is really weird stuff. I don't even know what I was doing with all this. But anyways, so these ones here are even struggling. Like they're idle. They're totally full. They can't push it out because they're just, it's not getting down there fast enough. I should have brought off more lines or done something different with this. But anyways, so once, ideally it would all go this way. And actually let's look over here quick. Now any excess stuff that I've used for my own personal use, I just had put a bunch of containers in here, like just filled this whole thing up. And then I just had a packager here with packaged turbo fuel. So now for my jetpack, I had a bunch of packaged turbo fuel. So that's just what's that. Put it into a container here. So I had a bunch here and I just put it into depot. That's simple. But anyways, so now all of the output of this turbo fuel coming down this way. In 2 pipe segments, both are turbo fuel. For some reason, yeah, the flow down here isn't full, and that's a problem. This thing is not giving at its max, but for some reason it's just getting held up over there. Anyways, it comes this way. This is the main way. 1 main pipe goes this way, 1 main pipe goes to the next side. I have them 4 wide, 4 of these in 1 slice here, and then going down this way. If I actually go up to one of these. Now this would have been where I should have used catwalks. I never used catwalks on this world. But these spans here would have been perfect. So I have all this here just on top of the void. In fact, let's just do this quick. You can see all those. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, This one's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's 20 times 4. So this is 80 here. It's supposed to supply 80. You have a manifold thing here, and then to make sure that it doesn't like run dry on the other end, I have an extra pipe coming around from the back, and that just comes from the start on the other side, so then it feeds from both ends. But anyways, yeah, so this thing is supposed to be running 8 at top speed, but this is not optimized. It's not a good build right now. So it's not actually feeding the full thing. But if we look at the power network, you can see I'm making over 40,000 right now. And actually, if I remove this, 33,000, wait. Yep, 33,000 from all this. It would be more if I didn't have inefficiencies because of the turbo fuel getting held up. And these are 80 generators. Each generator has 2 power shards on them. So really, this should be 160 generators worth if you're not overclocking them. So that's cool. But anyways, this thing not being perfectly efficient is what made me think that I'm probably gonna want to do a modular design instead. And then I can just kind of branch off of that better. Also, this is the compacted coal line right here. If we head up, I have 2 compacted coal lines because actually, wait, no, this is just regular coal. Where's this head to? Oh yeah, this is my other area. This coal and then this sulfur here. We're making the compacted coal right here. So this is where the compacted coal is coming from. I have sulfur coming from down over here. Sulfur node right up there. You can see the miner. Have that running in. And then that's all being made here. I have a bunch of these guys overproducing, so I had less machines, but to be honest, I probably should have just had a lot of machines, but I wasn't using... This was before 1.1 when the blueprints, you know, would snap together. Yep, it is. Sulfur is used for so many things. It's so useful and rare for how useful it is. You want to conserve as much as you can. You want to put some towards, you know, power production, but then you also want some for your explosives. And then later in the game, it's used for a lot of things apparently too. So a lot of your sulfur needs are going to be at odds with each other. But anyway, so this is where the compacted coal is coming from. This is just normal coal coming in this way. I have 2 whole belts of normal coal coming. Did I grab... This was before you could deconstruct these. This one's probably already looted. Yeah. Anyways, I had 2 whole lines coming all the way up from over there, all the way out. But yeah, compacted coal coming in, combining with the fuel and making turbo fuel. And I did not... This was the last big build that I made. I didn't really do much after this. I think I kind of got burnt out from it not being efficient with all the building, and then it's not even perfect. But you know, perfect is the evil of the good or whatever. I'm just too much of a perfectionist. Anyways, this here is my old thing of what I used to do, hypertube cannons. It takes up so much power though. But you know that it's going to be a certain speed and a certain length and everything. Now on this map, I had started over there as well, but I had moved my location to over here entirely. And on this playthrough, I had tried to make everything centrally located. It's a whole mess. But as you can see, I got my smelter arrays on various different nodes. I got a whole big bus line coming in here. This thing is something special, I tell you. All right, so if we come over here, here's our hub. Got a power thingy there, kind of cool. Can I see the playtime on this save? How do you do that? I don't know. If you know how to see it, then I can look. But anyway, so this thing here, these machines here were temporary ones because I was making the phase objective, the whatever you call them, the elevator parts. So all this wouldn't be here usually. But anyways, I had this whole little central storage thing set up here. As you can see, I had a bunch of different items running along here. I was bringing everything to over here. Okay. Okay, so with this 93 hours, I suppose. This is the one that we're currently doing is 33 hours. And that's just this test thing. So triple the time that we have in the one where I've streamed. So I'm already pretty close to getting to back where this was. And a lot of the time here was spent just wasting on all this. So this is the back end of the mall. Let's look here. So this is the main containers of all the things. For some reason I was storing ingots. I wanted to store every single item. Every single item. It's ridiculous. It's so funny. But anyway, so I have these industrial things, and then underneath the industrial things I have them going out here, and then each of the ones that I thought were important, I put a dimensional depot there, but I then had a line for every single one of them if I want to add later. Anyways, I got all that there. So if we head back up. Now this stuff is kind of complicated, so it's two-tiered, first of all. Let's head over to this side. So, iron ingots. Oh, if I'm not... Okay. I'm down here now. Let's just jetpack up. So I have this huge bus here. Probably just because I know what to prioritize right away. And also, I don't think you had 12 lizard doggos, did you? A lot of my, I didn't have to make a lot of machines for a lot of the early milestones because the lizard doggos just gave me what I needed to unlock. So I didn't have to set up machines. So that's probably how I got so far so fast without having to do as much stuff. But anyway, so everything's coming in here. They come in on the second level usually, but some are down first level. It doesn't really matter. They're pretty interchangeable here. So they're coming into a merger, and then these are smart splitters. So it prioritizes going to the left, but then overflow goes forwards. And then I have like a whole line here. Each of these is set up to be a different floor. So when it's coming in, it prioritizes going to the different floors. And then as you see, like for instance, this one, I have it going to this way. And then let's see here. Why is it? Which one is this? Okay, okay. So this one's feeding in as well from beneath. Yeah, because that's multiple lines. No, why didn't it? Where's my jetpack? Why did I put my jetpack away? What the heck? What? Apparently doing that puts it away sometimes? Weird. Anyways. Oh. So, as they come in, they go up on these lines here first, and I'll show you where those go. And then once they're done going up those lines, this one just goes straight up to the overflow here. And this is a huge sushi belt line, not efficient at all. I just have it going through that hole, and then that just goes out to that sink there. The bottom lines go down and through as well, but then the bottom line also goes forwards into the storage. So if they're on the bottom line, they feed into the storage right away. But anyways, I just have this tiled along for every single thing, and then when I want something sent to a certain floor, I grab off of a certain line on one of these sides. Now, as for going to different floors, I just have a bunch of holes set up here, same deal. And then they just kind of come up to each of the different floors here. And then I have this in a line. And I was trying to make everything in one single factory building too. I was storing everything and making everything in one single location. Except for the smelting of the ingots. But anyways, I had a bunch of things here. I tried using blueprints to make it expandable, but things didn't auto connect, so it was kind of annoying even with blueprints. But I tried to make it so that when they feed out this way, I wanted to make it expandable, so as I got higher tier conveyors, I could just make them longer. But then I had the problem of, well, do I want to feed the output back towards the front or feed it through the back? And in order to make the logistics make sense, I have to feed them through the back here. But then when I do that, I can only extend these out so long before it meets up with the output, and then I'd have to move the output, and it's so annoying. So this build, this whole idea for me is just a failure. But anyways, I had one floor dedicated to constructors, constructing everything that constructors can do. I had one dedicated floor for every assembler, doing everything an assembler can do. And then it gets even more complicated because some manufacturing things, if you get alternate recipes for the later things, you can make them in earlier ones. And some alternate recipes, earlier machines, you can do recipes that make them in later machines instead. Anyways, I tried to do that here. And then up above, on the third floor, well, technically fourth floor, because the first floor is the storage floor. If I go to the fourth floor, geez. Got the manufacturers here. And for some reason, I was making the crystal oscillators because I wanted to do rigger motors instead of regular motors for some reason. So I was starting this, and then I was like literally just gonna do rigger motors right over here. I was preparing for it when I stopped at this point. But anyways, as you see, once they come in here, I have to do all these buses and everything, and it gets all complicated. And then I have to pull. The last thing, major thing with this is I have to, when it's done, it gets pulled down through all the floors, pulled down, and then underneath the mall, I have this logistics floor here. I didn't completely fill the floors all the way over for just because of access. All these things come down here, and then they get fed up over here. They have to weave through my dimensional depots, so they weave through, and then they come back over here, and then these get sent up back into the storage for their items, for like the material items. Like all my rods are getting sent up here from these. The bottom here is, bottom line is for inputs again. Yeah, this is just crazy. What's your power consumption to power production going on? At this base here, as you can see, I had the power boost here, but I'm like hovering around 4,000, and then I'm only using up to 13,000 right now. So this base would be good for major expansions with that turbo fuel factory. Even though the turbo fuel factory wasn't completely good. That one power augmenter does a lot when you have a turbo fuel factory. Like 4,000 extra, around 4,000 extra for free. Pretty silly. $6,000 max consumption. All right. Okay, then I would caution you. Definitely don't add any sinks as an overflow for your systems. The reason why your consumption is so low to your max is because once your storages are filled up, they're not running and they're not using power right now. Which also means when you start building a big factory again, you got to be careful, because as the storages start to run out from you using stuff from your dimensional depot, it's going to start running things again, and that's going to spike up real fast. You're probably at the point where you would also want to make a big turbo fuel, or maybe just a big regular fuel thing if you haven't already. Oh wait, no, you're way farther. You're probably close to nuclear already, aren't you? You might want to do a rocket fuel if you haven't already. Rocket fuel is probably your stage. You have access to the blender, so the rocket fuel stuff should be pretty easy. Especially if you got the diluted fuel with the blender recipe. So then you don't need dumb packagers being annoying and causing annoyances. Yeah, either speedrun for react. Well, to be honest, reactor stuff is very complicated on its own, and I don't know how that stuff works. I would probably, if I were you in your situation, I would probably do rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is fun to build too. Now what I'm probably going to do for my new world, let's exit this. Why did it be weird? Okay, whatever. Let's load back into here. It's the next stage of turbo fuel. You unlock it in the MAM. Do you have turbo fuel unlocked? Here, let me go to the MAM, show you quickly. So in MAM, under sulfur. So this is the main branch. You go to experimental power generation. after this is unlocked, you have compacted coal here in this node, and then you have turbo fuel here in that node or something like that. Down here is rocket fuel, and then I think ionized fuel is right there. You won't have to bother with ionized fuel. That the returns on it for how much more complicated it is, it's like not worth it. Rocket fuel is the best last one to do, to be honest, for fuel. If you were doing ionized fuel, you might as well just be doing nuclear. But I'm pretty sure it's one of these two in this tree. And if you already have turbo fuel unlocked, it should be there in the MAM for you to look at. It adds nitric acid to turbo fuel, I'm pretty sure. So basically, you just make a turbo fuel plant, and then you just add another couple extra stuff to it, which is kind of just an extension of how turbo fuel plants work, because turbo fuel plants are just a fuel plant with compacted coal added as an extension to it. But anyways, I was thinking, at first I was thinking I would do a modular factory for a turbo fuel setup and include the generator in the blueprint, squeeze it in there somehow. But I'm thinking what I'll probably do is I'll have a blueprint for the input and the output of the turbo fuel, but I'll just manually set up the array of generators, because oh yeah, you'll want a lot of batteries. That is going to be important before you do any big builds next. You should put some batteries in, because just in case, you want to have a good buffer, so then when you know you absolutely have to build a big fuel plant or something, or build a nuclear plant, you have the time to do it before all your power runs out. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, because when I want to convert the turbo fuel factory into a... Oh, well, that's actually tough, because I'm gonna want to switch to the blender recipe for the diluted fuel instead of the packaged recipe. Well, with modules, it still makes it easier to delete them and rebuild anyways, so I'll probably just do that. So I will make it a modular factory, but I won't include the actual burners themselves, the actual generators themselves in the module. That will be separate. I think that's good. Oh yeah, build as much batteries as you can. The more, the better. Because it will fill up slower, but that means it'll drain slower too, and it can provide more at the same time. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's already late. Jeez, I didn't even do the concrete stuff, but we did a tour of my other factory and stuff, and some other cool stuff. Next episode is gonna be concrete. Next episode. Totally, for sure. Look, I already got the area prepped, sorta, kinda. I still have to decide whether I want to put the foundations on top of the water extractors, or if I want to put all the stuff down at water level with the extractors to the side. I haven't even thought of that yet. Oh, what do I want to do? Basically, do I want foundations higher or lower? That's the question. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not this distracting water, you know? You know, when you're just trying to think of something and you're so scatterbrained, and then the flowing waterfalls, it just distracts you. It just mesmerizes you. You know? Well, actually, the stupid things. They got the when they're running and they have the like turbine there running and it's rotating, that distracts me. That stuff's mesmerizing. You know what these remind me of? Oh, let me grab them back out. I don't know what it is about them, but for some reason they remind me of some sort of like Hot Wheels thing. Like for some reason I'm thinking of like a Hot Wheels flywheel for speeding up the cars. That's what it reminds me of for some reason. I don't know why. All right. Anyways, done a lot of messing around in this episode. A lot of just thinking. But that is important in a factory game. A lot of thinking, a lot of planning. Because you want things done right. I mean, yeah, sure. Any open spot. I know a lot of YouTubers, they like to place them in caves, because the caves where you don't have like SAM or quartz nodes down there, you're never going to be going there. So you might as well put batteries there where you know they won't be in the way. You want to put them in a spot where you know you're most likely not going to end up building something else. Because even if you make them as a blueprint where it's easier to place them and destroy them again, when you destroy them, you lose all of their charge. So you ideally don't want to have to delete them. So you do want to place them where you probably won't ever build something else. No. They just charge off the main, whatever your power grid is. If you have your whole world under the same power grid, they're just going to charge the same no matter what. Unless you're using like power switches and stuff, they're where you're blocking out your power stuff and disconnecting things and whatever. If you're just doing one big power grid, it's just gonna charge however fast they charge. What I would probably do is I would find a spot on the map, so like to the south of the grasslands or in the blue crater area or to the north of the dunes, wherever you're at there. If you have a spot with a void, I would build them above the void or something. Either that or put them in a cave, or whichever spot you don't think you'll build anything else, put them in that spot where they'll just sit there and just be passive. Like, that's why I wanted to do that blueprint where I have them underneath our power towers, because that's just open space that would would otherwise be unused, and I'm probably not going to be deconstructing much of those anyways, so they're just going to stay there and stay useful. Yeah, I don't know. I've never used the grid separating, but like I said, you saw how far I got in my last world. I probably will use it in this world at some point, especially with the larger things like the turbo fuel factory. Oh yeah, I know, right? Time flies by when you're playing the game. But anyways, yeah, with like the turbo fuel factory where you have so much machines that take power, you have to make sure that if something goes wrong, you can isolate it, and like the backup power runs to your fuel power to keep it going so it doesn't shut down completely, and it's easier to start up and whatnot. So if you're blocking off things and having different grid blocks, you probably want to have batteries on each block that is providing its own power. All right. Do I have snails and stuff? Not snails. Slug. I have one yellow one. Oh, my inventory's full anyways. That's a good amount. Yeah, it's like that when, oh, what's the movie? Interstellar or something? I don't know. The one movie where like, oh, a day on this planet is like 100 years on Earth. That's what happens. A day on this planet in Satisfactory is like 100 years on Earth. Time just flies by and you don't even realize it. You just get sucked in because of the high gravity or whatever. Although on this planet with our movement and everything we got going on, it's probably got low gravity. Yeah, it's probably got average gravity, but we got the striders. What are these things called? Blade runners? Yeah. Portal boots. Alright, yeah, I think that's probably gonna have to do it for now then. I gotta eat and stuff anyways. Do some other things. We'll pick up where we left off next time. And then next time I will actually do the concrete stuff. And then I'll be able to upgrade the steel stuff. And then all of my blueprints I'll use Mark IV belts. And it'll be good. Also next episode I have to go over how I built the stator and rotor modules because it was kind of specific. But yep. See you later. Hope you have a good time with your game. Be sure to come back next time and tell me how your stuff went. Because that'll be cool to hear. I like hearing that stuff. Alrighty, well, see you later, and everyone else watching in the future, see you later. Hope you all have a good day, have a good night, all that stuff. It's all good. See ya next time. Bye-bye.